From WFIU in Bloomington, Indiana, this is Earth Eats, and I'm your host, Kayte Young.
I knew that this was going to be a little bit of an adventure because I've never done this before, and so I'm sure I'm going to make some kind of stupid mistake that your listeners are going to be laughing at me while I'm doing this.
This week on the show, we revisit a story from 2019 about a novice hot sauce maker and one from 2020 about tasting the hottest of the hot peppers. Plus, a piece about a lab studying home sourdough starters and a news story from Harvest Public Media about backyard chicken flocks for rent. That's all just ahead. Stay with us. This is Kayte Young. I'm here with Christopher Burris. Do you prefer to go by Christopher?
I go by either one.
Okay. You're not like offended by one
No,
or the
whatever's
other.
more efficient at the time or whatever.
That's Chris Burris for you. He's a pretty easygoing guy, and he likes hot peppers a lot. That's why this summer, when a farmer handed me a Carolina Reaper pepper, I wanted to ask Chris to try it with me. Carolina Reapers belong to a class of peppers known as the super hots, and they are currently listed as the hottest pepper available, testing at around 2 million Scoville units, which is how the hotness of a chili pepper is generally measured. But before I get too far into the Reaper testing, I want to take you back to last fall. You may recall a story with Christopher Burris learning how to make pique. It's a Puerto Rican-style vinegar-based hot sauce. We'll start there.
My name is Christopher Burris. I'm an employee of WFIU and a lover of hot sauce.
The word amateur has its roots in the French word for love. An amateur does something not for pay, but because they enjoy doing it. Christopher Burris is an amateur hot sauce maker. In fact, you might say he's a novice.
I'm going on my first journey today of starting to make my own hot sauce. And I'm starting with a kind of hot sauce called pique, which is a really simple hot sauce to make that comes from Puerto Rico. And at its most basic form, it's infusing vinegar with chilies. It's really the kind of hot sauce that is homemade that you mostly see on the table and in people's kitchens, and everybody has their own version of it. And so that's what I wanted to start with, because it's so simple and there's a lot of different things you can do.
Wait, so you say you're seeing on everybody's table? I never see it.
Yeah, I guess hot sauce lovers' tables, yeah. I do have a kind of a story that I know that my great-grandfather loved pique, and when I told my mom that I was going to make this stuff, she was like, oh yeah, he used to have a bottle of that stuff all the time. He took it around with him everywhere, put it on everything, and so kind of continuing a little bit of a family tradition here as well.
All right, so what are we starting with in terms of the chilies?
Sure. So I'm going to make two different kinds of pique. The first one, and the one I'm honestly looking forward to the most, uses habaneros. I love the habanero pepper. It's my favorite pepper. I love the flavor of it. I love the heat level of it. I love the color of it, just everything about it. And so the most traditional pique that I'm going to make, which is white vinegar with some herbs and then the habaneros, that's going to be my first one. And the second one is going to be a little bit more of a mystery. I'm going to do a sherry-based one instead of white vinegar. And then I'm using some ají chilies because they have a great fruity flavor. The ají chilies are kind of long. They're about between 3 inches and 4 inches. They're red and orange, a couple green ones and yellow ones. They have a little bit of a wrinkly texture. They get used in a lot of piques is because they're really easy to shove down the neck of a bottle. You don't have to prepare them that much. I think I'm going to get some good heat with, I only have 2 ghost peppers in here as well. And then these kind of milder ones, I think will add a lot more of that fruity flavor I'm looking for. I knew that this was going to come down to the flavor of the peppers more than anything else. And so I wanted to try to source something good.
Christopher doesn't have a garden of his own, but he wanted something fresh and homegrown. So he headed to the farmer's market one Saturday morning in October.
I had a really fun morning just going around to all these different vendors and talking to them about their peppers and about, it's not just heat level, it's like, fruity tasting peppers versus grassy tasting peppers and whether or not you prefer one over the other. And so I got a mixture here. The habaneros have a little bit more of that grassiness. There's a little fruitiness there as well, but these ahi are definitely on the fruity side of things. And so it was really fun just to kind of go around and, treat peppers in the same way that you talk about wines.
Since it's not cooked, you can make piqué directly in the bottle that you plan to serve it in.
It becomes kind of a table piece. You have it on your table. And when people talk about making piqué, it's interesting, they also talk about the visual component of it, that you want to make sure you get a lot of different colored chilies so that, when people look at the piqué, they like how, they like the way it looks. They see how vibrant the colors are. So there's a taste aspect to it as well as a visual component. I like that about it too.
Christopher is using 1-liter flip-top spring seal glass bottles with airtight stoppers.
And so we need to prepare the spice mixture that we're going to use first. I've got about 9 to 10 cloves of garlic here, and I've got to get these peeled. You ever seen the 2-bowl method for peeling garlic?
Yeah, let's see it.
Okay.
What's it involve?
Yeah, so you take 2 same-size mixing bowls, like good metal bowls, just classic, and then put all your garlic in it, and then you're going to put the 2 bowls on top of each other so that the garlic is fully enclosed. And then you're just going to shake it up and down for about 20 seconds. So I'll do that. Okay.
How'd it work?
It did okay. Wow, you can really smell it. It definitely activated the garlic. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's a really good method. If you have a lot to do, it will really save you some time.
And if nobody in your place is trying to take a nap or anything too, it's probably... Okay, now it's time to prepare the peppers. So we got to get these softened so that they just kind of start releasing their flavor. So we're going to boil up some water and get these going, and then we'll chop them up. While we're waiting for the water to boil, we can actually start chopping up our chilies. And I know you have to be very careful when you do this. I'm not really big on using gloves. A lot of people suggest that. I tend to feel like it's easy to cut your fingers with gloves, so I've just got some tongs and things. I'm just going to try to be as careful as I can. I can already tell I'm getting this all over my fingers. I knew that this is going to be a little bit of an adventure because I've never done this before, and so I'm sure I'm going to make some kind of stupid mistake that your listeners are going to be laughing at me while I'm doing this. I was kind of hoping to try to keep as much of the seeds in. I know, because I like that heat, but I also know that the ribs of the pepper are where a lot of the heat is as well. So that's all staying in there. So we're going to put these in the boiling water for about 2 minutes just to get them soft, and then they'll go into the bottle.
Oh, that hot water robbed them of their color.
Hey, y'all, you're right, it did. Oh, man. Some people don't do this. Some people just put them straight in. They don't do the boiling part here first or anything. But wow, that is potent. So we're all coughing. I am having second thoughts about putting these ghost peppers in it as well.
The ghost pepper is one of the most well-known of the super hot peppers. It's no longer the hottest pepper. I believe the Carolina Reaper holds that title at the moment, but things change. There's a scale for measuring the heat of a pepper. It's called the Scoville scale, named after its inventor, pharmacist Wilbur Scoville. An SHU is a Scoville heat unit, which is a way of quantifying how spicy a pepper is by measuring the concentration of capsaicinoids. Capsaicin is the chemical that makes the chili pepper taste hot in your mouth. The ghost pepper clocks in at about 1 million SHU. For comparison, a jalapeno tops out at 10,000 SHU. The hottest of the hot these days measures around 2 million SHU.
These ones are yellow with this one especially looks really good. It's yellow and it has this, this gradual greening on it. But, the most definable feature of a ghost pepper is the really wrinkly skin. We're going to strain these now.
Christopher is removing the peppers that he's softened in the boiling water.
So that's it for the habaneros are strained. We're going to
Hey, they kind of brightened back up a little bit.
They did.
That's interesting.
They still look good. They'll still look good in the bottle, I think, for sure. I'm going to wash my hands again with the salt.
So I need to step in to warn you about handling super hot peppers like ghost peppers. Even the habaneros can give you a painful burn. So do your best to keep the insides of the peppers away from your skin. and wash your hands frequently with either an oil-cutting soap like Dawn or with some salt to scrub off the oil from the pepper before it settles in. If you do experience a burning sensation, usually this happens a little bit later, try applying a dairy product like plain yogurt or sour cream. It's the only thing that's ever helped me.
Put these in, these long skinny peppers that I'm just going to be able to slide right into the bottles. I think I just have to make a little slit in them so that the vinegar can get in and start extracting all that good flavor, but I'm not going to have to really do anything else to them, so that's nice.
The air in the kitchen is starting to feel a bit toxic.
Clean out your sinuses. So now we can start getting our vinegar prepared. And the vinegar you actually want to heat a little bit as well. Again, this is an optional step. I'm just going to go ahead and do it just because I think it makes sense that the heat would kind of allow the ingredients to start activating. So I've got white distilled vinegar, and we're just going to warm it a little bit, not enough to boiling. While we're doing that, we'll go ahead and kind of pour our spices into the bottles. For this recipe, I kind of have an idea of this one being ready around the holidays, and so having it being kind of like a sauce for some foods that you might have around the Christmas or Thanksgiving, and so turkey and ham and those kinds of flavors. And so I thought about adding some clove, because I have seen a couple PKs that have clove in them. I know you have to be pretty careful with the amount of clove that you put into something, because it's a pretty strong spice. Sherry goes in next. I'm not using a particularly nice sherry. It's not cooking sherry, but it's a pretty inexpensive one because we're stuffing a bunch of peppers in it. So,
yeah. So the sherry one is done. He's got the peppers, a few cloves in there, and then he's topped it off with sherry. For the habanero one, he's added garlic.
I've got some thyme here that I also thought I would add. I really like the flavor of thyme. I think that'll also look really good in the bottle afterwards.
Yeah, it's very attractive.
Vinegar and our sherry are both bottled. We've got all the spices we're going to put in, except I did almost forget black pepper, black and white peppercorn, another one of my absolute favorite spices. I know it's simple, but I'm one of those people, you can never have enough pepper on anything. And this is another one that I'm just going to add to the vinegar. I'm not going to add any of it to the sherry.
That looks really good.
Yeah, it does. Boy, I love the color of this already. You've got the black peppercorns, and then it's and the orange habaneros. It just looks really good.
That thyme, the green.
It's like a little hot pepper terrarium.
I love the purity of the habanero too. I think you're gonna like that flavor wise, but it also looks really good to just have the one color.
Yeah. I'm really happy with this so far. Give it a couple flips to start, and then you're good to go. So now this just sits out in the sun.
I like that you have two what are probably going to be completely different products.
Exactly, right, yeah. I mean, there's no sweetness really to this habanero one at all. And I think the cloves in the cherry clove PK, it'll be better on things like, I'm hoping, turkey and ham and mashed potatoes or whatever, any kind of Thanksgiving related. I put hot sauce on everything. I'm always thinking about that. So that's my plan with these.
Could you talk a little bit about your relationship with vinegared things and hot things?
Sure. I have always loved those tastes, like that tangy vinegar taste, and then hot sauces. And ever since like elementary school, I loved it. And actually, when I was in elementary school, it's that age where you're still trying to figure out your personality, and so you're defining yourself by like your interests in a really extroverted way. And since I knew I loved hot sauce so much, and so I was like a Tabasco sauce poster child. I just bought, or rather was gifted, all of their products. I had a friend whose dad worked for the Tabasco Indy 500 car racing team. And so one birthday, he gave me just like all of this Tabasco promotional stuff. So I had like baseball cap, I had shirts, just all sorts of Tabasco stuff. I even had this, it was like a little camo belt holder, so you could just like have your Tabasco bottle on your belt. And I used to wear it to school.
With the Tabasco?
Oh yeah, because I was ready to go. The minute I'd have some food, got to put that hot sauce on it. And then when you're that age too, it's all about like, well, how much Tabasco can you eat? Like, how hot can you go? As I got older, I really started to appreciate hot sauces that were a balance of heat and flavor. And that's what's ended up being the most important to me. There are so many of those hot sauces out there that are kind of gimmicky, and it's all about the heat. Those are nothing to me. It's just like, you got to get that good balance of flavor, which is why when I decided I was finally going to start making my own, I was really concerned about internalizing the differences between different kinds of peppers and their flavors.
Well, thank you. And I'm excited to check back in with you. What'd you say, 2 weeks?
I'll probably check in 2 weeks and see how they're doing, yeah.
After a quick break, we'll find out if Christopher's hot sauce met his high standards of flavor and heat balance. Earth Eats, I'm Kayte Young, back with Christopher Burris to give that hot sauce a taste.
So I've got 4 bottles here of the PKs. 2 of them are first infusions and 2 of them are second ones. About a week after I made it, I was sampling it, and I'd kind of decided that the garlic was where I wanted it to be. I really didn't want to get it any stronger, and I wanted to try to bring out the habanero a little bit more. We'll do the habanero garlic first. You should just give it a whiff because...
Yeah, that has a really strong garlic.
Yeah, yep.
I'm really tasting the other herbs too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mostly thyme and peppercorn.
The vinegar really hits you pretty strong.
Yeah.
Once it gets to the back of your throat, it's pretty
Exactly.
like, woo. But the heat is not killing me.
Mm-hmm.
It feels it feels like the vinegar's mellowed a little bit over time. It's not quite as like straight out of the bottle vinegar.
Uh-huh. This is infusion 1 of the sherry. It's sherry ahi chili and a little clove.
Smells totally different. Wow. Okay. So it starts out sherry,
Yeah.
then it goes clove, and then it goes heat.
Ghost pepper.
Ghost
yeah.
pepper.
That one.
That's incredible.
That one has ended up being my favorite. I was completely blown away by what it tasted like in the end. I love it personally. I think it's really interesting.
I've never tasted anything like it. And yeah, that heat is pure.
Okay, let's do the second infusions
Okay.
here because they're a little different. Okay, so this is the habanero, the second infusion habanero. You can already see the difference. It's a little lighter.
I think you accomplished your goal.
Yeah.
The garlic is definitely diminished, and you're getting that fruity
Yep.
habanero thing going on.
Yeah, that's why I like this one more. I mean, the other one is good. It's a different sauce.
Yeah.
And this is habanero. The other one's garlic.
But how incredible to get 2 sauces out of 1 bottle.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same bottle that we started with. But
This is the sherry second infusion.
yeah.
It's still working.
Yeah. That one
It's
was
softer.
Yeah, just a little softer. And the reason that I decided to give a second infusion to that one too is because the heat level on the first one I thought sat right. I didn't want it to go any more. I thought it was getting to the point where it was a little.
Could go anywhere.
Yeah, a ghost pepper is a scary thing. You just never know how far it's going to go.
Don't worry. You don't have to put ghost peppers in your PK. Make it how you like it. And if you need instructions or ideas for what to do with your PK, we have them at eartheats.org. Kayte Young here. This is Earth Eats. The story we just heard about Chris Burris and his PK hot sauce was from last fall. This summer, I got in touch with him again for another hot pepper matter. So what we're going to do today is we have a Carolina Reaper pepper. And what do you know about the Carolina Reaper?
I know that it's the Guinness World Book of Records official hottest pepper in the world. With hot peppers and hot sauces, we talk a lot about Scoville units. And I know that the Carolina Reaper is supposed to be something like 2 million, which is a number that I just can't really even conceive of. I don't know what that really means.
Currently, right now, I think it is the hottest pepper on the scale. The next level is like pepper spray.
Yeah.
So I think that it is one of the hottest ones. But what we're going to do today is we're going to work our way up.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with a really mild sweet pepper, which is just a banana pepper. And then what I've done is just kind of mix it in with some salsa, but we could also taste it on its own, too. I was going to do a banana pepper, an Anaheim pepper, and then I got a habanero from my garden.
Uh-huh.
And then we're going to just kind of work our way up to the Carolina Reaper in terms of heat. And we are in my backyard. We're well over 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
And we have separate bowls and everything. So we're trying to do this in a COVID-safe way,
Right.
but not so much safe for our taste buds. I don't
Well,
know.
I also kind of think that giving the Carolina Reaper a little social distance anyway seems like a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is just the banana
The
pepper.
banana pepper.
I feel like I tasted more chip than pepper.
Than pepper. Yeah, to me that is, that's that grassiness. It's kind of
Oh, yeah.
it's like the standard grassy taste there with the banana pepper. A little heat, but I that's what I taste at least.
Next in line was an Anaheim pepper, or what I think was an Anaheim pepper. It's a green chili. I'm not getting the heat at all. Like this is the kind that you could put into salsa that you're giving to kids, and they're going to taste peppers a little bit, but
Yeah.
they're not going to burn their mouths.
Sure.
Would you call this on the grassy or fruity?
This is still grassy to me a little bit, I think. The salsa that you made too, Kate, is really excellent. Fresh salsa here in your backyard. The sun is shining. The salsa is fresh. I mean, we're in a pandemic, but this is pretty nice.
Well, I think that this salsa is working pretty well as a base, which is what I intended. So yeah, our next one is a habanero, and again, this is definitely harvested on the early side. The peppers are fully formed, but they're not turning color yet. So this is a green habanero. It should be a little bit hotter.
Yeah. A habanero versus an Anaheim, yeah, I think it'll be a little bit hotter.
And I didn't remove the seeds from any of these peppers.
Okay.
I just chopped them up.
And it's interesting with the habanero too, because I feel like that the heat hits you faster. I think there are some peppers where it can take a little while for it to kind of come on for the heat. The habanero is right there. Of course, I may have gotten a seed in my bite here or something like that.
Yeah, because I didn't get any heat in my bite.
Yeah, so I've cut off a little piece of the pepper here, and I made sure that I got a little bit of the rib material in it.
I wonder if it's because it's not ripe. But for some reason, I am not getting heat.
So I got a little bit more there. I took a pretty large chunk of it, and yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting how much of a difference there is when you're eating one that's on the ripe side. That is probably as mild as the Anaheim.
I hope I didn't accidentally plant those heatless habaneros. I'm going to be having a discussion with a farmer if that happens.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting it now.
Yeah. It's still mild for a habanero though.
No, I'm getting it now. I think it's because it's not ripe yet.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't reached its.
Yeah, but for me, it's also the flavor of the habanero. I just love the flavor.
I do love the flavor. I
Yeah.
love the smell, and the aroma and the flavor is great on the habanero. That's why I always like to grow them and make salsa out of them.
Yeah, I think I've said before, I have no qualms about saying that it's the best. It is the best of the peppers, in my opinion. I just think great balance of flavor and heat. When they're ripe, I think the color is very attractive. It's just a great pepper.
Yeah, they're really good looking.
Mm-hmm. They grow well in Indiana,
So, are we ready?
for the Carolina Reaper.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, this Carolina Reaper came from Sharana Moore out at Lawrence Community Gardens up in Indy. And I think we should be careful handling this one too, because I think it can burn your hands. She was saying that even just being out in the field harvesting them, she was coughing. Wow. I'm going to have my water ready. And I also have some plain yogurt.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to mention. For anybody who's trying hot peppers, having something that has some fat in it, like a dairy product of some kind, some milk or some bread and butter or some yogurt, is a really good thing because capsaicin is fat soluble. So sometimes when you drink water, it can seem refreshing, but what it's actually doing is just spreading the capsaicin around in your mouth even more, and some peppers, it can make it worse. I gotta just say, I got a little bit on my arm, and it is burning my arm. I'm not kidding. It is burning my arm a little bit.
Okay, I'm nervous now. Okay, here we go. I'm not tasting.
Yeah, I think I need a little bit more. I'm not really getting anything.
How can that be?
Okay, I've cut myself a little bit more of this pepper with rib and seed.
And you're just gonna eat it plain
I'm
without
going to
a
try.
chip.
This is what some might consider to be an idiotic amount of this pepper, but maybe not. So that pepper has absolutely no heat. I did get a little bit of irritation, as I said, on my arm when some fell out, but
What is
the piece that
happening?
I just had is not a hot pepper.
She must have been mistaken. She
Yeah.
must have just grabbed me the wrong one. Oh man, underwhelming.
It's just so funny because, we're sitting at this table and there's water, there's yogurt. I brought like an iced coffee because I knew it had fat in it. There's sparkling
We're
water.
totally ready for this intense experience, and it's like, not tasting much there.
Oh, that's so funny. I wonder
Okay.
if the ripeness or lack thereof has anything to do with it. I wonder if it's a pepper that heats up really late. I just don't know.
I mean, I wonder too, and I would like to research that a little bit because I do know that my habaneros are usually much hotter than this one, and this is an underripe habanero for sure. Well, Chris, I want to thank you for coming and trying this uneventful chili pepper with me.
I mean, I'm never going to turn down an opportunity to just sit in the back garden, as I said, and enjoy some peppers, and the flavor is still good. I mean, it's not all a disappointment, to be sure. The salsa is excellent.
I will definitely be on the lookout this summer to see if I can get a hold of one and have you come back and we'll try it again.
Yeah. I mean, I think it kind of lifts up the intrigue of it even more. It's kind of slipped through our fingers this one time, but maybe next time, and then it'll just be all this regret. It's like, why did we pursue this pepper when it's burning a hole through our stomachs?
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you, Chris. And let's just dig into the rest of this salsa.
That sounds good.
It was disappointing, but I set my sights on finding a Carolina Reaper before summer's end. I reached out to Susan Wellsand, also known as the Chili Woman, to see if she could hook me up. We'll get back to our quest to taste the Carolina Reaper later on in the show. In recent years, more and more people have welcomed chickens to their backyards. But for those who aren't ready to fully commit, renting chickens is now an option. Chicken rental businesses will provide everything you need: the coop, the food, and the hens. And as Harvest Public Media's Skylar Rossi reports, recent high egg prices, plus egg shortages at the grocery store, are pushing more people to consider renting chickens.
4 chickens snack on a treat of dried mealworms, which Katie Hitt shakes into the run of their coop from a red plastic cup. These chickens have lived in Hitt's backyard in St. Louis for just over a week. She and her family have enjoyed the pale blue eggs the hens lay, and her 3 young kids are having fun with the birds.
That's the first thing they're thinking of when they wake up in the morning is like, how are the chickens and what are they doing?
This is Hitt's first time having chickens. She says she's wanted them for a while, but she was nervous about doing something wrong. She doesn't know anyone with a backyard flock, and there's an overwhelming amount of advice online.
Looking at all these things, and I just wasn't sure what the right move would be.
But then Hitt heard about chicken rentals. She could have her birds and coop delivered right to her home, expert advice, and only a 1-year commitment renting. So the chickens moved in.
It was just like, boom, there we go. We didn't have chickens one day, and then we had a whole setup the next.
People are flocking towards backyard chickens this year. Rent the Chicken, a national backyard rental business, opened over a decade ago. Co-founder Jen Tompkins says rental interest is high.
We've been so busy, we haven't even been able to compare numbers now versus last year. But when we looked in February, we were already about 20% ahead on this year versus last year this time.
Hatcheries across the Midwest say they're also flooded with orders. Some point to the recent expensive egg prices and shortages as the reason why.
Things exploded, and it's almost 100% to do with eggs, the cost of eggs specifically.
That's Tom Watkins, the president of Murray McMurray Hatchery in Webster City, Iowa, which sells about 3 million chicks a year to people across the U.S. Typically, the hatchery sells out about 2 to 3 weeks in advance. But this year, Watkins says they're sold out through October.
So that's 40 weeks of chickens that are pre-sold. We have literally sold them, counted them before they hatched. So
to be clear, even when eggs were at a record high average of $6.23 in March, you'd still be shelling out more to keep chickens than just buying the eggs. Katie Bell is an agriculture educator with the University of Illinois Extension. She says all the needed supplies, like the coop, the feed, and the fencing to protect the birds from predators, costs at least a few $100s.
You could easily spend $500, before you even get the birds.
And that goes for renting chickens too. In St. Louis, Emily and Tom Schnitzer opened their chicken rental business for feathered hens at the beginning of this year. They offer 6 or 12-month rentals. Their packages start at $95 per month for a year-long commitment and go up from there. Emily says their most expensive package at $190 a month includes full care of the birds.
We'll come out, we'll feed the chickens, we'll change out the bedding in the coop, make sure everything is going smoothly, just so it's pretty much the family only has to collect the eggs.
Katie Hitt is renting from the Schnitzers. Her family is caring for the chickens themselves. Hitt says her kids are picky eaters, but they want to eat the eggs from their chickens.
This is like, oh, I know my chicken, they're already deciding whose chicken is who. My chicken laid this one, I'm going to eat that one. And so it's really cute.
Hitt's not sure yet if she'll keep the chickens after the year is up, but for now, she's enjoying the experience. I'm Skylar Rossi, Harvest Public Media.
Harvest Public Media is a collaboration of public media newsrooms in the Midwest and Great Plains. Find more of their work at harvestpublicmedia.org. Kayte Young here. This is Earth Eats. Scientists are getting ordinary people to help them understand, for the first time, what's up with the microbes that give each sourdough starter its special funk. Producer Josephine McRobbie gets an update from the Wild Sourdough Project.
Microbial ecologist Erin McKenney isn't afraid to tackle controversial research questions.
And this is the question on the minds of every San Franciscan, right? Is San Francisco sourdough starter reproducible anywhere in the world, or is it truly just in that region?
She and her colleagues at North Carolina State University have studied the science of sourdough bread for around 4 years. They say we know less about the microorganisms in our foods than we do about the creatures living in the deepest parts of the sea.
One of the overarching themes that we found in all of this work with sourdough is that for every question that we think that we're getting toward an answer, it's like a hydra, right? 9 or 15 other questions pop up.
A starter begins with flour and water. As you gradually refresh and stir your starter, it ferments, becoming inhabited by yeast and bacteria.
Bakers all over the world know that at 10 to 14 days old, after you've been growing your starter from scratch, by 10 to 14 days, it has developed from glorified paper mache paste to something that's bubbly and alive and that will leaven your bread, right? It won't make a rock cake. But nobody's ever really looked at, is it really 10 days or do you have to wait a full 14 days? And what exactly are you waiting for?
A recent project, Global Sourdough, worked with citizen scientists around the world to analyze the starters that people already had in their homes, to see what role geography plays in composition. For instance, it's commonly said that the fog and temperature in the Bay Area has a noticeable effect on local loaves. But Dr. McKenney says that they found no golden fingerprint of the yeasts in San Francisco starts.
And I think that has to do with, each person managing their sourdough starter separately. And we don't really live in our outdoor environments that might drive the distribution of those yeasts or of those fungus, right? We live in these glorious caves that we've built ourselves. So we actually appear to have domesticated or surrounded ourselves with specific different bacterial and yeast species than we might find just outside our front doors.
People around the world have starters that they've been cultivating for years. So the Global Sourdough Project was working with a data set that had a lot of uncontrolled variables. In April of this year, during the onset of COVID in the US, the team decided to start fresh.
We saw the entire world started growing starters and making sourdough bread once we were all at home. And we thought this could be a marvelous opportunity, one, to engage folks who are already playing with bread, to also gather some data or take pictures of their starter, and who doesn't love doing that anyway? But if we can leverage that information for scientific knowledge, that's an incredible opportunity. And two, it gives us an opportunity to ask some questions and begin to address some of the questions that got opened up the last time we tried to study a different aspect of sourdough.
The Wild Sourdough Project invites participants to begin a sourdough starter and to track how quickly it grows over 10 days. They also note the location, the flour brand, and if they use tap or bottled water. And they document the scent of the starter. How do you quantify smell? The project provides an aroma wheel. It's based on research conducted in a Danish lab.
Do I get grass? Is it fresh grass? Is it fermented grass? Do I get fruits? What types of fruits does it smell like? Am I getting grain? What types of grain? Or is it more like porridge? Or is it like a toasty grain? And they then grouped all those different smells into super categories.
So far, over 1,700 people have made starters, each doing their part to contribute to the creation of knowledge.
When I'm developing citizen science projects, I'm considering them partners, and I get really, really excited about sharing the story and about hopefully empowering anyone in the world to do science and to not need a fancy lab or a degree or, to have taken that class.
The team is doing a kind of slow science with wild sourdough. It's allowing the submissions to ferment into the fall without an official end date for the study. McKenney draws all kinds of connections between this kind of research and baking itself.
Baking was really intimidating to me for a long time. And there is a fair bit of chemistry to it, right? I mean, that's what underlies the transformation of a bread dough into a loaf. But I think as I have learned to trust myself and to trust the microbes, right? It's been humbling as a microbial ecologist to go from, I will extract your DNA in the lab and I will, analyze the DNA sequencing data with bioinformatic analysis, and writing code and being very specific and very exact. Going from that to a working practice of now just trusting these organisms that I've studied and admired for so long to do what they do. What do bacteria need? They need food, they need water, they need warmth, they need space, right? So if you give them time and you give them food, you just wait and they'll do their thing. It turns out, because everything that we've studied about them, we've learned because it is true. It is what they do.
That story comes to us from producer Josephine McRobbie. And now, back to my quest with Christopher Burris for a taste of the infamous Carolina Reaper pepper. After our July pepper tasting session ended in a 0 on the Scoville scale, I asked Susan Wellsand if she was growing any of the super hots. She's known as the Chili Woman, And she sells many varieties of pepper plants, ships them all over the country, and she sells the chilies themselves from the plants she raises in her own chili field. Susan isn't a fan of the super hot trend. She values flavor over extreme heat.
To me, they've crossed a line from being a food source to being a chemical. And when you cut open a habanero, there's that wonderful aroma, and you just kind of breathe it in. And when I cut open these super hot peppers, like a ghost pepper, or scorpion, or a reaper, I get a chemical smell. I grow some because people do want them, and I sell the plants in the spring, and they're really popular.
When I contacted her in July, she told me she should have some reapers ready in the fall. In late August, I got a message that she had some groundhog troubles, and the reaper plants were damaged. She hoped to salvage some peppers, and she would let me know. Farming is always unpredictable, and this year seemed to be the year of animal trouble out at Susan's farm. A hawk got to several of their chickens.
We've trapped raccoons, we've trapped groundhogs, we trapped the white skunk the other day. And I went to pick in the chili field, and the electric fence had gone off, and the deer had done a lot of damage in there. And when I went out to see the damage, I realized there was a lot of down below damage too, and it was from a groundhog. And we have electric fence around there, and we have chicken wire wrapped around the sides of the fence to keep rabbits and stuff out. So we figured something was digging underneath. And there's a tool shed out the side of the chili field, and it had dug all the way, tunneled all the way under the tool shed and come up in the chili field. So we got a groundhog right away, we trapped. And I still had damage, so Terry put trap back right on the tunnel and came back out and had the biggest groundhog I've ever seen. He could even move around in the trap. And he was mad. He was so mad he rolled the trap over 4 times and took a whole bunch of plants while he was doing it. But we haven't had trouble in the chili field since then.
But through all the trials and tribulations, Susan managed to rescue a single Carolina Reaper chili pepper. And she saved it for me. I told her about our experience in July with the Reaper that had no heat to it, and I asked her about the conditions that could affect the heat level of chili peppers.
In general, when it's drier, you get a lot more capsaicin in the plants, and some growers even stress their plants. They deliberately let them go to the point of wilting and then water them to try and increase the amount of spiciness that's in the pepper. And, this is Indiana. I don't have to do that. There's always a drought at some point. So sometimes even your jalapenos will be really hot.
So that's why it's hard to know or to control or to be able to predict completely what your peppers are going to taste like.
Mm-hmm. But that's also kind of the fun of them, too.
Susan also grows some of the heatless habanero varieties.
Yeah, so they look hot, but they're not. I did have a prankster at market one time. There was a little kid. And I saw her do it, and she switched my signs at market.
So what do you mean? She saw that you had hot habaneros and sweet habaneros?
Yeah.
Wow, just as a prank.
Yeah, well, I assume so.
Susan assures me there are ways to tell the difference.
The super hot ones tend to have that warty skin, so they look really evil. And Reapers have that little tail on them.
Oh, that's how you can tell. I left the Chili Woman's farm with my solitary, devil-tailed Carolina Reaper. It was time to meet up with Chris again, to give this Carolina Reaper tasting another try. Remember, Chris Burris has a history with hot sauce and hot peppers.
I talked about when I was doing the PK, how my mom's grandfather used to make PK, but on my dad's side, his dad was a huge gardener. And he used to grow hot peppers to show at the county and the state fair. But he didn't like to eat them. He just liked to grow them. But he had this thing called the Red Badge of Courage Club, which is, he also had a hobby where he used to make badges and pins and things. And so he would make these Red Badge of Courage pins and then give all of his habaneros to his friends, and the idea was that if you could eat a whole habanero, you would get a red badge of courage and you'd be in the red badge of courage club. It was just an excuse to be able to make these badges and kind of get rid of these peppers. But it was definitely my first memory of having like a super hot pepper.
So you did it?
Yeah, I did it. I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, and I was at that point I was already like a Tabasco sauce poster child, but I hadn't really, gone in on the peppers, which is a whole nother level. You will never get the true experience of heat until you just eat a hot pepper raw. That's what the Red Badger Courage Club is all about too.
But Chris has never tried a Carolina Reaper, understood to be the hottest pepper currently available. Today's the day. Like before, we built up towards the super hot by tasting some sweet habaneros, which have the habanero flavor but no heat. And then we tried one of my traditional habaneros from the garden, a ripe one this time. I might have taken too big of a bite of that one.
Okay, I'm going. You seem totally fine. I'm dying over here.
Ooh, I mean, it's spicy. You have to be totally relaxed when you do this, because if you accidentally have a little hiccup or you swallow oddly, I mean, you're just going to regret it. I mean, you can hear the difference in my voice.
Yeah, I'm kind of dying over here.
Yeah, you took your glasses off. I've already got the hiccups. Boy, if this is how it's going to be with the habanero, we're going to be in trouble.
I'm crying. I have tears running down my face.
After I calmed down and cleared my palate, it was time to finally sample the star of the show, a ripened Carolina Reaper. Slicing into it, I noticed the beautiful coloring. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. That smells hot. It smells like a ghost pepper to me.
I'm so scared right now.
I decided to start with a cautious bite from the tip of the pepper, which doesn't have as much heat. I felt a slight numbing sensation, and then we moved into the full body of the pepper.
There's a sweetness on the
There it
edge.
is. Wow, what a flavor. Wow.
Oh, that's so strange. I'm still getting that numbing, and it's almost more complete. Like it's numbing my whole tongue. It tastes.
I mean.
Oh, as it's reaching other parts of my.
Okay, that's spicy. I don't think we got the full effect.
No.
Because that is not as. Okay.
It's coming on slow. I mean, every place that it has touched in my mouth it's burning in a way that it wasn't even for the. Oh.
It's a different heat than the habanero to me. It's like.
It's very different for me.
It's still.
But it's also the way I'm ingesting it. Because the other one, I just kind of started chewing on it. And it was in the back of my throat immediately.
Man. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's like, it's white hot for me right now. Like, that is the image in my mind. It's rough. Oh, man. White hot. It's like giving me butterflies, like a little bit. Wow.
I don't think I was bold enough. So I probably need to take a little more. The places, like I said, where it has touched are numb. Wow,
You're
so
lucky.
now you have streams of tears coming down.
I've got tears coming down my face. Yeah, I've definitely got stomach cramps going on now. So.
Really?
Yeah. But it's unlike any pepper I've ever had. I'm not exaggerating.
Okay, I went for it. Oh.
It's like as you try to breathe, it's like flame coming in and out of your mouth.
It's like the back of my jaw, too. It's just like, you know how when you have like a sourdough or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was full on. It
Habanero.
really does. It puts you in the moment. There's no place else to go.
Yeah. Like all your senses are completely engaged with this pepper. All of them, because, for me, I was streaming tears, running nose. It's like, the heat. I mean, you're exactly right. You're just completely focused on it. It's like your body goes into full alarm mode.
You can't think about other things.
Yeah. And I do actually feel like very relaxed.
I'm starting to feel a little bit of euphoria that comes with pepper eating.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not, it's coupled with the pain that's still present.
Yeah.
But there is that kind of wave of like,
yeah, like a relief of some kind that makes you feel pretty good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I am so glad we finally got to have our Carolina Reaper experience.
I know. This is the real deal for sure. This is great. As a person who talks about peppers a lot, I feel very legitimate now as like a heat seeker.
That concludes our pepper tasting adventure and this episode of Earth Eats. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. The Earth Eats team includes Eabon Binder, Alexis Carvajal, Alex Chambers, Toby Foster, Luann Johnson, Leo Paz, Daniela Richardson, Samantha Schemenauer, Peyton Whaley, and we partner with Harvest Public Media. Special thanks this week to Christopher Burris, Susan Wellsand, and Aaron McKenney. Earth Eats is produced and edited by me, Kayte Young. Our theme music is composed by Aaron Toby and performed by Aaron and Matt Toby. Additional music on the show comes to us from Universal Production Music. Our executive producer is Eric Bolstridge.